Fox Sports.
We are Black. We are Florida.
The baseball calendar has turned to August, and the Mets are enjoying a rebirth, tied for first in the East. Miami comes off a stirring walk-off yesterday against the Padres. It's the first of three National League East rivals, Miami and New York. And in Miami tonight, the Mets arrive with some wind in their sails. 55 and 50 on the Metropolitans. Marlins and Mets for 3. And that's what a sweep of the Nationals will get you. A share of first place. Wilmer Flores and the Mets are hot. Lucas Duda is the hottest hitter on the planet. And Bartolo Colon faces Tom Kohler to open this series tonight. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. Welcome to Miami. For the Mets, this is a different dimension. They haven't been in this position for a long time, and that really changes this rivalry over the next 2 months.
Yeah, it really does, Rich. If you look at it from the point of the Marlins, you've got 9 games left against the Mets. You have 10 games left against the Nationals. The two teams on top, have some fun and knock them off.
Marlins had a bunch of fun yesterday, and they're looking for some. Yesterday, Adeiny Echeverria, after the Marlins blew a 2-run lead in the top of the 9th, Etch won it in the bottom half.
Boy, you talk about something that was needed for this ball club. He took a slider to the base of the home run sculpture. For Echeverria, his first ever walk-off hit, he made it a big one, a home run. The Marlins have had 5 walk-offs this year.
That's a feel-good win, certainly, for Miami. It would be a feel-good win for Tom Kohler, a New Rochelle native, born in the Bronx, if he can beat the Mets tonight.
Not good this year at Citi Field in New York, but Tom Kohler has beaten the Mets, but that was back in 2013 in August. He's pitched against them much better here in this ballpark.
Bartolo Colon is 42, and he's on a downward slide right now. His last 7 starts have not been good ones.
Well, the last one for him, Rich, 2 1/3 innings, 10 hits and 6 runs against the Padres. He doesn't walk many. He's a strike thrower, and the Marlins have seen him before.
So the stage is set. The Mets trying to hang on to first place. The Marlins trying to be a thorn in their side. Great rotation, great opportunity for the Mets. We explore when we return. the National League. Lucas Duda is on fire. But a great rotation has helped the Mets to first place. To explore, Craig Minervini and Jeff Conine.
Only the co-player of the week, despite hitting all those overs. Thank you very much, Rich. You talk about the New York Mets now. They do have a bolstered offense, but they will be led by their pitching, and it's as good as it gets around baseball.
Yeah, the reason the Mets are in first place right now and what they've done so successfully this season because of their starting staff. Well, their bullpen's pretty darn good, too, but third in the major leagues overall in ERA. But here's the starting five. We get Bartolo Colon, Jonathan Neese, and Matt Harvey here in this series. Bartolo Colon is the only one that's not been pitching well out of this rotation staff. We're almost a 5 ERA, almost a 6 ERA his last 12 starts. Yeah. Jonathan Neese, the last 9 starts, quality starts, and under a 3 ERA. And, of course, Matt Harvey, one of the young superstars for the Mets.
The Marlins, fortunate probably they don't get DeGrom and Syndergaard. And last night, was just amazing, helping lead the way and finish off a difficult thing to do, to sweep a team, especially a first-place team. And right now, Washington is tied for first thanks to that effort.
Well, yeah, he's one of 22 pitchers in the last 100 years to have back-to-back starts of 8 innings, no walks, and 9+ Ks.
Wow. And it's a tough starting rotation. Now you add Clippard to the back end and the other offensive pieces, and you can make a strong argument now that the Mets are still going to be there, even though you keep thinking those Nats are going to run away with it.
Well, it'll be interesting with Cespedes, the addition of Cespedes to this lineup.
Yep.
Him and Duda back-to-back. That could be a pretty potent offensive threat, especially if Duda keeps on swinging the bat like he is.
Maybe David Wright returns. Obviously, you got a little more veteran pop with Uribe, Kelly Johnson. So it's looking better for the Mets. And the Marlins will have to stop some of that momentum. They come off a big win of their own, and they could have a nice little say in this NL East race. Day 1 of this 3-game series gets going next on Fox Sports Florida.
Toyota, let's go places. By Vico Painting Contractors. For top quality work, excellent customer satisfaction, visit VicoPainting.com. And by AutoNation, save on over 70,000 vehicles now. Visit us online at AutoNation.com. New York native Tom Kohler on his way out to face the Mets, who are at 55-50, tied for first with the Nationals, as they start this 3-game series in Miami. Jam Lexus brings it to you. Curtis Granderson to right. Daniel Murphy is at third. Yoenis Cespedes is out in center field. Lucas Duda Look at the damage in his last 8 games, 9 homers. Wilmer Flores, one of the feel-good stories of the year. Kelly Johnson newly acquired at second. Travis d'Arnaud just off the DL behind the plate. Michael Conforto just up from AAA and left. And Bartolo Colon, always entertaining when he's hitting in the 9 spot. Tom Kohler to work. Curtis Granderson in the box. And that is strike 1. It's brought to you by Pinch a Penny. Granderson fouls it back.
Well, Tom Kohler, Rich, would like to forget about the 2 starts he had against the Mets at Citi Field this year. Didn't get past 4 innings. He'd like to remember the starts he's had against the Mets here at Marlins Park. He's pitched against them much better here.
Much better is a good way to describe Curtis Granderson compared to last year. His slash line last year, 227, 326, 388. He's on base at a 347 clip, and a 443 slugging tells you he's done damage. He's got 20 doubles and 17 home runs.
Well, he's that leadoff guy who can give you a quick run with those 17 home runs. Just 2 for 13 against Tom Kohler.
Daniel Murphy, Yoenis Cespedes, also due up, just underway here in Miami. Granderson fouls it back and out of play. The Mets played late last night. Terry Collins and his bunch, an emotional series sweep over the Washington Nationals. And home runs last night. Granderson had a big one. Daniel Murphy had one. Of course, Lucas Duda homered last night. 2-2. Good at bat. Granderson grinding out pitches.
It's an interesting alignment in the infield. It's not a full-blown shift. Echeverria still on the left side, but way off the line is Martin Prado, the third baseman. So he's trying to fill up that hole.
Roller out to Gordon. D gets the out. Mets have not been a dynamic offensive team, although the last 7 to 10 days they've looked like one.
Well, they sure did. And last night in the 3rd inning, there's Curtis Granderson going deep. Daniel Murphy, those were back-to-back pitches against Jordan Zimmerman. And then you mentioned Duda. He has 9 home runs his last 8 games. First time in Mets history, 3 left-handed batters hit home runs in the same inning.
Daniel Murphy now. Murphy, such a slow start. Sits just a tick under 270, and he blasts one to center. Yelich in full flight, reaches and makes the catch. Christian Yelich, who's looked very good in center field.
We love showing you the defense after a terrific play, and it's brought to you by BMW. There's Dietrich settling in and left. Christian Yelich chasing one down. Nice play. Ichiro in right field. Prado, Echeverria, D. Gordon around the infield. Casey over at first base. JT Real Muto behind the plate.
Now Yoenis Cespedes. Met fans' hearts were broken. Wilmer Flores' heart was broken when word got out, number one, that they had traded for Carlos Gomez. Then number two, when that trade didn't go down. But I think the Mets got a better player right now, a guy that's producing more and having a better season than Carlos Gomez.
I totally agree. The numbers from Carlos Gomez over the last 2-3 years have gone down a little bit. He's had some hip issues.
Cespedes, that's a fair ball. Down the line it goes into the corner. Cespedes on his way to second. And the Cuban outfielder has himself a 2-out double.
So yeah, I think they have a more solid, a healthier player in Yoenis Cespedes. So I believe that trade worked out just fine. Got a breaking ball, stayed kind of middle, and he was able to keep it fair and get it past Martin Prado. It's one of the many plays, Derek Dietrich telling me, Seems like every game there's a different play, a different ball that comes his way that he has to deal with that he's never dealt with before. But he's feeling a lot more comfortable out there.
This is week 1 in his baseball career in left field. Now Duda, ball in the dirt, pops up. Nifty play by Real Muto. And the count is 1-0. Well, Cespedes puts himself in scoring position. There's Real Muto with Duda at the plate. And Lucas Duda is the hottest hitter in baseball. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And the amazing thing is that he wasn't the National League Player of the Week. He was the National League Co-Player of the Week. I mean, you hit 7 home runs in 1 week, you should be the guy. But Noah Syndergaard had 2 dominant starts. They are co-players of the week.
So at least he's sharing it with his teammate. They're really, when you talk to those who follow the Mets, there haven't been a lot of physical changes with Duda in his swing. Obviously he's comfortable. He has more help around him with Cespedes, with Uribe, with Kelly Johnson.
And maybe with that help isn't just protection, Tommy, but maybe motivation.
He was told by his manager at the time he was struggling. The whole team, the whole Mets offense was struggling. And Terry Collins told his team, look, we've got some help. We've got some guys to put in the lineup. Duda was a little worried that he might not be playing first base all the time because he knew Kelly Johnson played first base. Terry Collins said, if you hit, you'll play. Bottom line.
Well, he certainly hit. And now here's Wilmer Flores. Runners first and second, 2 outs. What a week it's been for Flores, who had that emotional night where he thought he was traded. He came to the plate and had a huge standing ovation. That's when he first got an inkling that something was up. Word filtered down after the at-bat that he had been traded, and that came from the crowd as he went out to take his spot. A confused young player, emotional obviously.
Signed as a 16-year-old. He's been in their organization a long time.
I think that certainly Flores was put in a tough spot. Terry Collins was put in a very tough spot as well. 0-2. And it's out. Collins was not informed that Flores either A, had been traded, or B, was part of that trade. And Collins had to keep him in the ball game. They had a game to win. And as it turned out, Collins' instincts were correct. That trade did not go down. Flores takes out, and of course the storybook ending, a walk-off homer in the 3-game sweep of the Nationals.
He's had a storybook career, a brief career against the Marlins. 5 home runs, an average over 300 when he faces Marlins pitching.
Pitch number 21 for Kohler here in the first. And a high fastball. Flores strikes out. Mets leave 2. Marlins coming to hit against Cologne. Marlins lineup after a walk-off win yesterday against San Diego. D. Gordon's back in there. It's brought to you by JM Lexus. Ichiro's in right. Christian Yelich in center. Derek Dietrich in left. Martin Prado hits fifth. Casey McGee's at first. He hits sixth. JT Realmuto seventh. Danny Echeverria, nice series this weekend. He hits eighth. Tom Kohler's in the 9 spot. Bartolo Colon delivers.
D. Gordon, with the day off yesterday, had fresh legs on his dunk over Echeverria after the game.
And I think one of those, people think that you get 2 weeks off like Gordon did with that injury, that, hey, you're going to be refreshed and coming back in. But game shape and the grind of the game. A nice bunt. Murphy just got him. Bang, bang.
Boy, that's a fantastic play. We've seen over the years Daniel Murphy at second base. He actually came up, played a lot of third base in the minor leagues. Probably his best position. But a terrific play there across his body with a strong throw to get D. Gordon by a step.
Ichiro now. Ichiro doubled yesterday, and he rolls it out to second base. Kelly Johnson makes the play.
And here's a look at the defense. Mets kind of in the middle of the pack. They've committed 60 errors. Michael Conforto in left field, Cespedes and Granderson in the outfield. Cespedes with 44 assists since 2012. Murphy, Flores, Kelly Johnson, Lucas Duda around the infield. Travis d'Arnaud behind the plate.
Now Yelich. Up the middle into center field. Colon almost captured that one with the glove. Yelich sneaks it through the box. And a 2-out single.
Up the middle with that solid stroke under the glove of Colon. Bartolo Colon doesn't waste much time. He doesn't waste a lot of effort. He's real compact with the delivery, works quickly.
Now Dietrich. Dietrich has not had a great homestand, just one hit, but that was quite a hit. It was that 9th inning homer off of Craig Kimbrell. Yelich, a threat to run at first. Travis d'Arnaud back behind the plate. Yelich runs, pitches out. d'Arnaud's throws on the money. Yelich is safe. Got the hand under the tag.
Yeah, the throw was on the money. It was quick by d'Arnaud, but Yelich with a really good jump. And that nice lean body gets the extension. Look at the hand. Fingers up, palms up. Just ahead of the throw.
That's close.
$11 out of 13 for Christian Yelich, stealing bases.
Terry Collins waiting for his video room to look at it. And it's a stolen base. d'Arnaud did everything right. 1-1, the count to Dietrich.
We've scouted over the years Bartolo Colon, but we've committed it to memory. Yeah, he's a dart thrower, short armor, 80-85% fastballs, usually a slide step. That's why it was nice to see Christian Yelich with that nice jump.
A swing and a miss. Down goes Dietrich. Colon gets through the first. Underway in Miami after one, scoreless. Does great work for military veterans. Scoreless ball game. Tom Kohler right back to work. He'd like to have a cleaner second than the first. A double and a walk. 21 pitches, just 11 strikes. Kelly Johnson, Travis d'Arnaud, and Michael Conforto.
To kind of paint the picture of some of the bad luck that Tom Kohler has had against the Mets. Last year against the Mets, Kohler was 0-2, but had an earned run average of 2.97. He's actually had 5 career starts against the Mets where he's gone at least 5 innings and not received any run support.
Johnson. McGee has a kick off his glove. And Kelly Johnson is aboard. And we'll see how they rule it.
They weren't hit quite that hard, but Perry Hill was working with Casey McGee during batting practice, hitting a lot of balls to that backhand. They weren't hit that hard, and they didn't take that kind of hop coming up. But Casey McGee's put a lot of work in defense at first base. Unfortunately, he's charged with an error there, a tough one.
How much of a difference, because you played first base, for a guy like McGee who's used to a different glove, is that ball with the big first baseman's glove?
You know, the difference is not so much fielding ground balls and doing all that, because you have to go that to your backhand at third as well.
Ichiro can't get it. It's over his head. He'll pick it up off the track. Johnson races to third, and Travis d'Arnaud with a loud double. The Mets have second and third and nobody out.
The difference quickly, Rich, is that you're just on the opposite side of the diamond. Everything seems backwards. It's the other way around. Solid hitting by d'Arnaud. This ball really jumped and carried over the head of Ichiro. Kelly Johnson, the runner, he holds right about there, and then he sees that ball get over Ichiro and scoots over to third base.
Michael Conforto. Breaking ball, a strike. Just game number 7. Conforto arriving in the big leagues and making an impact right away. Drove in runs in each of his first 3 career games.
This young hitter's not played AAA baseball. He actually started this year in Port St. Lucie and then moved up to AA. But they like his approach at the plate. They like his compact swing.
Seattle native. Went to school in the Northwest.
Oregon State. We see a lot of Oregon State guys popping up.
Two and one. Cologne's on deck. Yeah, it's the one thing if you're Tom Kohler you can hang your hat on here. If you can get Conforto somehow and keep it on the infield, you've got Cologne up next.
And even if you lose Conforto, even if you walk him, but you still have to then deal with that top of the lineup after Cologne.
3-1 is hammered right center and deep and gone. Wow. That was a blast. Now the Oregon State Beaver takes a bite out of Miami.
He made no doubt of his first Major League home run. It was a blast, and it was a 3-run shot. No doubt about it. Tom Kohler's gotten hurt with a home run ball. Remember last time out it was Bryce Harper with a 3-run homer.
And now here is Cologne. Boy, everything right now seems to be popping for the Mets. Cologne reaches out and trots down to first. And is out number 1. I mean, the Mets right now are doing it without Michael Kadire, who's on the disabled list. Obviously, the whole season, it seems, they've been doing it without David Wright, who's played in just 8 games. Michael Conforto, as Tommy pointed out, started the year up the road in Port St. Lucie in the Florida State League.
He's only played 133 minor league games.
David Wright trying to get back later in the month. Top of the order, Granderson. So 3-0 Mets. Anderson pulls it foul. Boy, it was the long ball last night with the ball jumping out of Citi Field. And here tonight, in the biggest of ballparks in baseball, Michael Conforto, a 3-run shot to right center. And right now, this is a split that will be tough for Tom Kohler to be successful with. 36 pitches, 17 balls, 19 strikes.
The tough part about that, you have to look ahead. The good pitch there to get Granderson. You have to look ahead that tomorrow night, looks like Grant Hand will make the start, but coming out of the bullpen, you don't expect him to extend a game deep into the ball game.
MLS Soccer Sunday continues this week. The New York Derby as the Red Bulls take on New York City FC, 7 Eastern on Fox Sports 1, and it's sponsored by Audi. Daniel Murphy flied to center. Well, the door opened on the error by McGee. Darno blistered one over Ichiro's head. Then the home run by Conforto.
Hitting's contagious, and right now the Mets have it. Think about it. Home runs from 4 different left-handed batters over the last 2 games.
To left, Dietrich makes the catch. Bartolo Colon has got himself a 3-run cushion. 3-0 Mets. Presented by the authority. The Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. Martin Prado. Colon throws a strike. The Marlins running headlong into the Mets Express. The Diamondbacks just got a home run from light-hitting Nick Ahmed, and they have a 1-0 lead against the Washington Nationals. So right now, everything is coming up Mets as New York tries to get Bartolo Colon straightened out.
So Ahmed took Fister deep.
Liner to right, and a base hit for Prado. Colon is the one thing that's not clicking right now for the Mets. And think back in the last 7 to 10 days, all the emotional wins, all the great starts. Well, Colon, for the first time in his career, has lost 6 straight decisions. 0-7 are the Mets in his last 7 starts. Now McGee.
I was a little surprised that Casey McGee got the nod over Justin Bour tonight. I know Bour played yesterday, and Dan Jennings is trying to just alternate those guys. But Justin Bour's a good fastball hitter. And we talked about Colon, 85% fastballs. 1 for 4 with a home run against Colon. But you know what? Casey can hit a fastball. You never know.
JT Real Muto due up 3rd in the inning. And McGee swings and misses. Check in with Craig Minervini. Craig.
Rich, thank you very much. You guys have talked about Bartolo Colon. His control, his command is really amazing. And in Met history, it is actually right there with the best they've had through 20 starts. He has only walked 14 guys in 20 starts in Met history Only Brett Saberhagen back in '94 had less through 20 starts, and that is 11. I talked with Bob Guerin today, the bench coach for the Mets, and he pointed to the fact that he could throw that fastball, although it's still a fastball, and as Tom said, 85% of the time, he throws it 4 different ways. Put this way, that way, up, down, and he has to master the control because he doesn't throw that hard anymore. He said he thinks, other than a guy named Justin Duscher, who was one of his relievers that he had with the Oakland A's, who at one point he said had 13 wins and 12 walks in AAA when they called him up. He's never seen anybody with better command than Bartolo Colon. And for the most part, I know he's struggled of late, but in his career, he's really been amazing. Even the latter part, without the great speed, being able to command and still have a decent record in ERA and throw strikes.
It's amazing, Craig. You run down his numbers this year and in his career. 11 starts without a walk this year, and even when he gets to 2 strikes, it's not like he wastes a pitch. When he has a 2-strike pitch, almost 80% of the time he follows that up with another strike.
That's because, Rich, when you're 42, you don't like to waste time.
Because it's gaining on him. Little dribbler, Duda's got it, and he tags Real Muto out before the Marlins catcher could get by him. So there's 2 outs. T-Mobile reminds you, tweet your strongest fan photo, hashtag FLDataStrongFan, and you might see yourself an upcoming telecast. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. Mommy doesn't want the sugar. It's like Mommy got the sugar.
It looks like good cotton candy there.
Fastball misses away. Danny Echeverria.
You realize, Rich, Echeveria's walk-off home run yesterday, the 3rd longest home run of his career.
His first walk-off of his career, and it finished off a 2-hit day and a 5-hit series.
His longest was hit off Boone Logan at Coors Field, 438. Yesterday's distance, 415.
You know, this is a spot where some pitchers might pick a little bit. Echeverria in the 8th spot. First base is open. Kohler's on deck. It's not in Colon's DNA.
No, it's not. Especially with a 3-0 lead,
yeah,
too.
That helps, too.
We talk about, and we have over the last couple of years watching Colon, and you see the velocity, it's low 90s. But because of that dart throwing short arm delivery, at times hard to pick up, and the velocity actually when you're at the plate seems greater than that.
He's 1-2 on Echeverria. Prado in scoring position with 2 outs. Well, we told you Colon's about the only thing that's not going right for the Mets right now. Jonathan Neese tomorrow night, Matt Harvey on Wednesday. Those are the starters for the Mets. In all likelihood, Brad Hand tomorrow for Miami. David Phelps on Wednesday.
There is the left-hander, John Neese.
There are a lot of things different about playing in New York, it seems. And one of them is if you're not a star, you're always seemingly about to get traded, right? That's how many years have we heard from Met fans or others that when are the Mets going to trade Jonathan Neese? Oh, they're, you know what I mean? And here he is. He's in the rotation. Etch, check, swing.
And not, Rich, that the Mets need more help in their rotation, but young left-hander Steven Matz, who went 2-0 in his 2 starts, he's on the disabled list. Has a little tweak in his side, but Matz should be coming back to them soon.
Echeverria, and that one ends up by the feet of Travis d'Arnaud, who's had a rough year. Remember, the young catcher broke a finger, was hit by a pitch in a game against the Marlins, and then just came off the disabled list with a sprained elbow after a collision with A.J. Pierzynski. So a couple of DL stays for d'Arnaud.
Yeah, they've really been pleased at the job Kevin Plawecki has done. There's that pitch that hit d'Arnaud. And then you mentioned him also on the disabled list another time as well with an elbow issue. So yeah, it's been a rough year for the catcher.
Outside corner, Colon strikes out Echeverria. And Miami strands a runner in scoring position. 3-0 Mets. Home run, a big one here. Half Price Tuesday is tomorrow night. Marlins and Mets will be here. You can too for half price, courtesy of the Miami Herald. 7:10 start. Half price Lexus Legends Platinum tickets. Great discounts on tickets in several other categories. Go to Marlins.com today. Yoenis Cespedes for the Mets. He doubled in the first. Duda, Wilmer Flores will follow against Tom Kohler. Cespedes was having a solid year. Played in 102 games with the Tigers. Some have asked, here's a guy that has been traded from Oakland to Boston, trading deadline last year. On to Detroit. And then from Detroit here to the Mets.
So it's a fairly young career, yet Cespedes now with his 4th team.
He's about to be a free agent next year. And that, you would expect, has something to do with the motivation for clubs to move him. I remember in Oakland, Athletics, Bob Melvin spoke very highly of him. And that was I don't know if it's a miscalculation, but a subtraction that certainly hurt Oakland's offense last year.
Well, he's a very compact built player, about 6 feet, if that.
But thick and strong. You noted the outfield assists that he has racked up.
And you were telling me, and I was reading it the other day too, when he was in Oakland, center field is where he likes to play, but they had Coco Crisp at the time.
And originally they moved Coco Crisp to left. Cespedes played center to right. That's hit deep. Ichiro is there. And in an effort to get Crisp going, Bob Melvin asked Cespedes if he could play left field. Cespedes said, whatever you want me to do, I'll do. And when they moved Crisp back to center, he took off and everything clicked. Terry Collins, when he met with Cespedes before his first game, asked him about playing in the outfield, asked him, would you ever consider playing center? And Cespedes looked at him and said, I love playing center.
Yeah, that's where he feels most comfortable.
Duda fouls it back.
He almost bucked the chain on that last swing.
His chain's already popped. It comes pre-popped. His reputation in Oakland, too, was of a guy who played at his best when the pressure was on and the stakes were at their highest.
When you're on a roll, which Duda is, you're able to take that pitch where it was, that last pitch that Tom Kohler threw. He's just seeing the ball. You can tell by the way he's taking pitches, taking that curveball there. Just seeing the ball very, very well.
He's one of only 3 players in the last 10 years to hit 9 home runs in an 8-game stretch. There you have it, 9 homers. Now the other 2 players who have done it, 9 homers in an 8-game stretch over the last 10 years. One won't surprise you, Josh Hamilton, 2012. The other, a former Met.
Terrific changeup there to get him.
Jason Bay in 2006.
And remember, he had a 35-game stretch where he hit just 1 home run. But that was a good changeup by TK.
Now Wilmer Flores.
Wow, Arizona extending that lead on the Nationals. 4-0 now. You mentioned the Ahmed home run. Peralta is homered. Wellington Castillo has homered.
In this day and age of handheld tablets, Apple Watches, smartphones, there can't be a Met fan watching this game, whether on SNY or here or at the ballpark, who isn't keeping an eye on the Nationals, right?
Without question.
That's a pretty good breaking ball.
The Mets have a nice stay in Florida for a week. They came down for this series here. They have Thursday off and open up a 3-game series in Tampa against the Braves in St. Pete.
See that score. 4-0 Arizona. The Mets sharing first place. Bartolo Colon trying to get sole possession of first place. Little tapper, And Kohler fires it on over to first in time. Kohler settles down a 1-2-3 third. Still, it's 3-0 Mets. Those guys should be on the energy team. Roster moves this afternoon. Carter Capps, 15-day disabled list, right elbow strain. Donovan Solano option to New Orleans. Brian Ellington, who is a Florida guy, a Gainesville native, played his high school ball in Gainesville. He's selected from New Orleans, up from New Orleans. It's a good story to see this guy get to the big leagues. Here's Kohler.
And we had talked the other night about Tomas Telis and his arrival, a switch hitting catcher. So it gives Dan Jennings a little more flexibility coming off the bench.
Telis has played in the big leagues this year with Texas. Kohler can't check his swing, and Colon strikes him out. 8 of 9 hitters saw a strike on the first pitch, first time through. D. Gordon and Ichiro now, with 1 out in the third.
And another first pitch strike. There is the new switch hitting catcher, Tomas Telis.
The Sam Dyson trade coming from the Rangers. D. Gordon's average has dipped below 330. 329. He did not have a lot of rehab game time coming off of his short disabled list stay.
Hey, he just played the one game. He was going to play the day before, and I believe they were rained out, the Hammerheads in Jupiter.
Little tapper. This one's going to be a hit. And so Gordon, who was thrown out by a step trying to bunt for a hit. Murphy again fielding it, but no chance.
A little chopper, infield base hit. And no chance. Daniel Murphy knew it. You know, there's only one other pitcher that Ichiro has more career at-bats against than Bartolo Colon. Ichiro 97 at-bats against Colon.
It's a trivia question.
John Lackey, he's faced 115 times.
He's homered 3 times against Colon. And it would figure he's had success. I mean, Ichiro's had success against just about everybody. But Ichiro's not a selective hitter. He's not a guy that in his career has walked a ton.
So just about everything he's going to see from Colon is going to be in the strike zone.
And just about anything that's in or around the strike zone, Ichiro is generally going to take a rip at.
Seen a few more pitches in this inning other than the fastball. He's taken a little bit off. Adds and subtracts very well.
The Marlins have a lineup right now that, quite frankly, is having trouble hitting it out of the ballpark. Nobody in this lineup has double-digit home runs. When you fall behind 3-0, you're in that gray area. If you're depending on a D. Gordon or a Christian Yelich to steal bases, Ichiro hits a soft pop-up. Flores makes the catch. And it's kind of a, as a manager, Tommy, you're in an odd position. If that's the way that you're going to score runs, yet you're down 3-0, do you still step on the gas? Or
yeah, it's a dilemma. It's tough to get down early. Remember how the Marlins scored yesterday in the first inning? They had the back-to-back doubles. Yelich with a nice ground ball, moving Rojas to third, the sac fly. They can't make mistakes when they get in those situations.
Yelich now. Colon isn't convinced that Gordon is staying at first. Well, how about David Price today for the Blue Jays?
What a debut. Had over 45,000 at Rogers Center today.
We were talking about two guys who years past have been in the same spot, almost a hired gun to come in as a starter. Gordon just getting in. Randy Johnson with the Houston Astros. CC Sabathia with the Milwaukee Brewers. And as I remember with both, their managers gave them the ball and they pitched a lot of innings.
They rode those guys like thoroughbreds. I think there were some games that both of those guys threw on 3 days rest, maybe 2 days rest.
Yelich takes a strike.
Yeah, 8 innings from Price. He had 11 strikeouts. Toronto's clicking on all cylinders right now, too.
Toronto and the Mets seem to have great momentum right now.
He missed with a changeup. I'll bet you in this inning we've seen more off-speed pitches than we've seen sometimes in an entire game from Colon.
Dan Warthen, pitching coach for the Mets. Gordon hasn't budged from first. Yelich pulls. That's a fair ball, and Gordon's off to the races. Granderson over to get it. Gordon around third, and he'll hold there. Granderson got to it and got it to the cutoff man quickly. I think D. Gordon wanted that green light.
Well, nice start for Christian Yelich tonight. A single, a double, a stolen base. And believe it or not, he got back-to-back changeups from Bartolo Colon. That's a rarity. Good effort by Duda. He can't get it. And you're right, as D. Gordon comes around right about here, he's hoping to see the green light. But the stop sign's put on by Lenny Harris. Good play by Granderson down in right field.
Dietrich struck out back in the first. Second and third, a chance to get on the board here in the third inning. It's out of play.
Going to need more than a fly ball, but Dietrich with a nice sacrifice fly in that first inning yesterday. That picked up the second run.
Keep in mind what you were just talking about with Colon and the amount here in this inning. Second time through of change-ups off speed pitches. Six home runs for Dietrich. 5 have been solo shots.
You mentioned last AB. Dietrich's cooled off a little bit. Just 1 for his last 16.
Dietrich hits it center and deep. Cespedes back with room and makes the catch. Hit it well. The big part of the ballpark. Still 3-0 Mets. Standing up for the Mets. Marlins and Mets finish the series on Wednesday, and every kid 12 and under with a ticket get a coupon for a free Cam Beef Frank, bag of Frito-Lay chips, small Pepsi or Aquafina water. Get your tickets for Kids Eat Free Wednesday at marlins.com. A lot of kids eating at the ballpark tonight. Here is Kelly Johnson. After the first pitch, McGee. And there's one out here in the fourth.
Well, one thing Tom Kohler has settled down after the Conforto home run. He's retired the last 7 men he's faced. And we've seen that this year happen to Tom. He's had that one bad inning. Be it the 3rd, 4th inning, had troubles for a while. Tonight coming in the 2nd inning.
Tommy, this weekend when we had Wayne Rosenthal in the booth talking about Jose Fernandez, we also talked about the injury to A.J. Burnett. He wasn't sure if his career was over. The news is actually encouraging. Flexor strain in the right elbow. Received an injection of platelet-rich plasma and is hopeful that he'll be back. For Carter Capps, a strain in his right elbow. He's on the 15-day disabled list.
Not to be thought of as serious. He's expected in 3, 4, 5 days to start throwing easily and be ready when the 2-week period is up. So that's good news.
Pirates are hopeful that Burnett is back in 4 weeks. Full count to Travis d'Arnaud. d'Arnaud doubled in the 2nd over Ichiro's hand and right. That inning started with a Casey McGee error on Kelly Johnson's ground ball. After the d'Arnaud double, Conforto homered to right center. That one is smacked down the left field line, and it's fair. Dietrich retrieves, and another double for d'Arnaud.
So the Mets have 4 hits tonight, 3 doubles, and a 3-run homer. Pitch middle in, up a little bit. d'Arnaud just attacked it with that swing. And here comes Conforto again.
Conforto fouls it at the plate, so his first big league homer, and it was impressive in this ballpark when you put it up 6-7 rows up in right center field.
Yeah, into that area. That's always an impressive shot.
That's a long ways away.
Wonder if the Mets were able to retrieve that ball.
I thought I saw Jay Horowitz with his cell phone.
Yes,
up in that section.
Well, he's been working out, and to get all the way up there quickly, he was able to do that. 12 home runs for Conforto between A ball and Double A.
There he is. Look at Jay Horowitz.
Now he has spotted that ball right now.
Nothing gets past him. Conforto played in the College World Series 2013. First round draft pick, 10th overall.
That's what Jay Horowitz was looking for. He was making sure the Gary Carter bobblehead was placed in the proper area.
Swing and a miss. Kohler gets a strikeout. Now he can go after Colon with 2 outs.
Boy, there's that good curveball. Look, it starts a little above the belt and ends up down there and fools Conforto. Yeah, looking for Mr. Met. I think Craig has that. Craig has that bobblehead.
That's the mascot wing for the bobbleheads.
I think I had one when I was a kid, but not now.
Well, we know who took it if that one's missing, Craig.
Where is that? Oh, it's next to the Fanatic. Okay.
Yeah.
Bernie Brewer.
Yeah, going down his slide.
Did they get a new mascot? I thought they had an additional mascot. I thought I saw a shot in Milwaukee the other day.
A giant round of cheese.
Yeah. Well, Bernie never leaves that spot. He's one of the lazier mascots, I'd have to say.
0-2 pitch to Cologne. Swing and a miss. Down goes Cologne. Arno left at second. All Mets so far tonight. Oh, look at that. Greg, your heroes. Brought to you by your local Chevy dealers. Visit your South Florida Chevy dealers today. By 5-Hour Energy Shots. Have you tried great tasting 5-Hour Energy lately? And by Checkers, mix and match our famous Big Buford and Big Chicken Deluxe. Get 2 for $5. Checkers. It's in the bag. Marlins Park 3-game series opening tonight. The hot Mets and the Marlins. Bartolo Colon doesn't look like a guy that has lost 6 straight decisions. He's been able to keep Miami off the board. Martin Prado, Casey McGee, and JT Real Muto here in the 4th.
Well, Bartolo Colon, an all-star 3 times with 3 different teams. An all-star with Cleveland, with the Angels, and with the Athletics. He's got a pretty good resume.
Yes, he does. He's won 213 games.
He's won a Cy Young Award, 2005.
Flores around it. Gets the out. And there's one out here in the fourth. Well, as we told you tonight, the Arizona Diamondbacks off to a quick start against the Washington Nationals. The Mets and the Nationals tied for first. 5-0 now. Arizona on top. That's in D.C. And the Diamondbacks are doing that damage to Fister. McGee into right field. And that's a base hit. Last year, Glover Teixeira took the champ to the limit, while Miami's own Vince St. Preux took only seconds to destroy a legend. Saturday, you can watch two of the sport's most ferocious heavyweights. They collide on UFC Fight Night. Coverage begins at 10 Eastern only on Fox Sports 1. And it streams live on Fox Sports Go.
Big in Miami. Vince St. Preux, born in Miami.
Real Muto. Murphy to his left out there. Kelly Johnson was in an awkward spot with Real Muto's foot speed. He wasn't going to get two. And here is Echeverria. The Giants had to place Joe Panik on the disabled list, but still they are beating Atlanta 6-0 in the fifth in Atlanta.
Yeah, they got a nice start. The Giants did. It was in a losing cause, but Mike Leake threw pretty well for San Francisco last night. 6 1/3, gave up just 2 runs, but a 2-run homer by Josh Hamilton.
Etch pulls it hard. Murphy, he is out. Johnson somehow found the bag with his foot, saved Daniel Murphy, and the inning is over. At a close one. Let's see if the foot does get the bag. From that angle, it's tough to tell. The Marlins are looking at multiple angles, and they will not challenge.
Bypasses every night.
Look at that. That's it. That's mobile too. Kahlua and Bailey's up top. Ice cream. And that is a mobile dessert buffet. Coming to a suite, but not Rich and Thomas. 6:30 Marlins live pregame. South Florida Honda dealers bring it to you. Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine, who are in one of those suites right now and about to have dessert. At least Conine is. Craig is at his station. Look at that hut. red velvet cake with ice cream? How decadent. Or you can crush hot dogs and then work your way to dessert.
I think, you know, if I was going to get decadent for a half an inning, I'd go with the nachos and the hot dogs and the beer before the cake.
Not me. I'd be knee deep.
You love the, yeah. You would go for the
knee deep in red velvet.
The red velvet cake.
Granderson lines one up the box in center field, a base hit. Mets leadoff man. I think he's an underrated part of the Mets' success this year, Tommy. You look at his numbers last year, highly disappointing, but he's slugging, as we pointed out, .443 coming in. He's reached base now in 18 straight games.
Has a 5-game hitting streak, and I think a lot of it goes hand in hand. There were so many Met hitters early in the season that just were off to poor starts.
This guy in particular, Daniel Murphy.
And it was pretty much when the Mets left here that Murphy got hot.
It's a good point. Ball and a strike. The Padres, who were here, their story continues as they try to hang on the periphery of the wild card, make some progress. They're in Milwaukee tonight, tied 1-1 with the Brewers. Whom the Marlins have yet to play either here or in Milwaukee. That'll change shortly.
Yeah, the Marlins head up to Atlanta for a 4-game series. Come home for just 2 against the Red Sox, and then out on the road again into St. Louis and Milwaukee. Usually nice and cool in St. Louis in August.
The Marlins actually usually go through in early July, and it's a couple of years ago that Milwaukee St. Louis jaunt for the hottest days on record in those two cities for those dates.
Tom Kohler with a battle now. Got a tough left-hander after Granderson's base hit. Kohler in June had a nice ERA of 2.93, was 3-1. July, a better earned run average, was 2-3, but an ERA at 2.61. So he would just like to continue that and be solid here in this month of August.
Two coming.
That curveball lately has been a good pitch for him. Missed with that one to Murphy. And I would imagine 3-2, nobody out. Granderson will be on the move.
9 bags for Granderson this year. Runner goes, and it's in. First and second, nobody out. Here comes Cespedes with Duda behind him. Before we get there, Craig Minervini. Hi, Craig.
Hey, Rich. Perry Hill, the infield coach, should get some kind of teaching award or certificate for all the work that he's done with first baseman in recent years for the Marlins. The Fish have used 15 first basemen over the last 3 years. Guys have, some hadn't played at all, some played a little more. and that is 4th most in Major League Baseball. And it's an intricate position to teach. Casey McGee tonight playing his 5th game of the season over at first. Played a little bit. He said for Casey, because he's right-handed, unlike Tommy, who's a left-handed first baseman, hey, the position is made for a left-handed first baseman. Everything in front of you. You saw him on the backhand earlier, holding guys on with the backhand. Casey told me the catching part is the easier part. You do that anyway every day. It's the positioning, holding those guys on, working with the pitcher, and also being that relay guy and having to go all over the field, being a general sometimes in the infield. But Casey said he enjoyed first, didn't play much with the Brewers there with Prince Fielder, did see a little time with the Yanks over at first base, guys.
Thank you, Craig. If you watched the Mets game last night against the Nationals, you could hear and see how energized the fans in New York are. Cespedes a big swing. Plenty of Met fans in South Florida, and they're enjoying this run and enjoying this lead right now.
One of the things I heard about that series at Citi Field this weekend against the Nationals was that it was the first time Citi Field sounded like Shea Stadium. They averaged about 38,000 a game for that 3-game series.
Well, you and I talked about the last time the Marlins were there. Big crowds, and at least to me, and I think you agreed at that point, we had not felt that type of energy in New York since Shea Stadium.
Yeah, it drew over 114,000 for that 3-game series.
Kohler trying to catch the corner, misses, and now it's 3-1. There's nobody out.
Nobody out, and Lucas Duda on deck.
Right center, well hit. Ichiro won't get it. Off the top of the wall. Granderson scores. Murphy scores. Mercy. Yoenis Cespedes with a big boy double.
Well, he was just 1 for 7 in his previous 2 games as a Met. But here in game 3, 2 doubles, a big one right there, driving in 2 runs. And just missing a home run. And the problem you get into when you fall behind, you've got to come after hitters. That ball hitting at the top near the State Farm sign. That's a 1.5 feet from being out of here. That ball was scorched by Cespedes. Good jump by Murphy. You saw him on the tail of Granderson.
Chuck Hernandez out for a quick visit. Bullpen in motion. Rienzo getting loose.
4th double of the game for the Mets to go along with a home run and 1 single.
Here is Duda.
It's amazing that in the month of June, Lucas Duda hit 187 and had 1 home run.
But we talked earlier about Duda's conversation with Terry Collins. Reinforcements, but also the realization that these new Mets might take some playing time from him.
And Collins was up front and saying, if you hit, you're going to play.
He's hit.
Has he hit? Oh, wow.
Boy, he's lived up to that. Nine home runs since the All-Star break. 9 home runs came in an 8-game stretch. And I can remember a couple years ago when everyone was trying to decide between Ike Davis and Lucas Duda.
Yep, I can remember that too. I think there were a few in the Ike Davis camp.
No check. John Hirschbeck, the home plate umpire, rings up Duda. And so a strikeout for Tom Kohler.
Been kind of a crazy game for Tom Kohler. That's strikeout number 6. But the extra base hits have hurt him.
Now Wilmer Flores. Flores has struck out and has bounced out. 5-run night so far for the Mets. That one tagged into the corner. Wilmer Flores has extra bases, and the Mets have their 6th run. Cespedes scores. And the Mets have cracked it wide open with 3 runs here in the 5th.
Extra base hits galore for the New York Mets tonight. Pitch is up. Very similar to a pitch that d'Arnaud doubled on back in the 4th inning.
Justin Bour comes into the ball game in a double switch. Rienzo coming in as a Kendall Toyota called to the pen. I don't get. I'm with you on the whole Bour thing.
Why didn't you just play?
Why didn't he just play to give him some bats against? Because you want to find out about him, don't you? It's Andre Rienzo who comes in and tries to slow down this Mets express.
Boy, the 5 doubles tonight for the Mets ties a season high for them. They have found some lines and some gaps in this one.
Wilmer Flores now with 16 doubles. Flores, who's had some big hits of late. You could sense it around batting practice before the ball game. The Mets really have a bounce in their step. A lot of confidence coming off their sweep of the Nationals. As we've talked about, on a night where the Nationals are getting blasted by Arizona 5-0, here are the Mets with a 6-0 lead and a very good chance to be all alone in first base when the night is over. There's Justin Bour. He comes in in the double switch.
Yeah, we've seen Kelly Johnson over the years. Arizona, certainly with the Braves. Remember, he was in the outfield, and the Braves brought him in to play second base one year.
Pitch bounces up. Realmuto retrieves. And already at third base is a hustling Wilmer Flores.
Not sure where it was right away, but by the time Realmuto tracks it down, Flores gets to third.
Only one out. Infield's in. Roller. Bohr steps on the bag, throws to the plate. And safe is Flores. He stepped on the bag because he was right there. As he spun to throw, he was literally on top of the bag.
Yeah, he almost had to do this because he didn't have a play at the plate. It becomes a tag play. But either way, Flores would have beaten it. He was going on contact. So credit Johnson with an RBI. And a good play by Justin Bohr, who just came in the game.
Darno, Echeverria to first in time, inning over, but the Mets add on in a big way. 7-0 now. Bottom 5, the Marlins in a big hole. Now, we were showing a lot of food, and some nice gentlemen, actually the food service folks from the Marlins, brought us.
We got nachos here.
Nachos.
With cheese. We can't touch the cold beverage, but it looks good.
Well, I'm touching it.
Well, you can't sip them.
All right. Well, maybe next commercial. And the longest hot dog in the ballpark. So
yeah,
we thank the folks for feeding us.
We do. A little cheese on the nachos.
And that's a hot dog.
That you can touch.
Justin
Thanks,
Bohr. It's a hard ground ball into shallow right. Kelly Johnson makes the play. Hey, do players still, when they change teams, keep a little something from each team? I've heard guys say, hey, I've got like equipment bags from every team I
Some
played
guys
for.
do. You know, some teams will say, no, you have to turn the equipment bag in.
Because Kelly Johnson, if that's the case.
Yeah, he's been with 8 teams.
And Kelly Johnson's got a closet full of stuff. And he hadn't been in the big leagues that long, right? I mean,
some guys will try to get a jersey. Will save a jersey from each team. Kelly Johnson in his 11th Major League season.
yeah, 5 years with Atlanta, 2 years with Arizona, 2 years with Toronto, and then in like a year's span, he was with every team in the American League East. Toronto, Rays, Boston, the Yankees, and Baltimore. Little tapper. I'll tell you what, Daniel Murphy's made 2 really nice plays at third base.
And he's been tested by D. Gordon. Yeah, Kelly Johnson was with the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Orioles just last year. There's the bare hand across the body. He's done that a couple of times tonight to get D.
So he's a guy, as you see Gordon and Murphy, and he's a guy that if you were writing like a little travel journal, the best places to eat in the American League East,
He'd be a guy you'd go to.
Kelly Johnson.
Yeah. Years ago, you would have gone to you remember this guy, pitcher, Mike Morgan.
Yeah.
He was with 11 or 12 teams.
Ichiro gets buzzed.
Believe it or not, Rich, this is tonight Ichiro's 100th game.
He was kind of bailing out on that. It's a strike, 88 miles an hour.
The one guy who's touched Cologne up a couple of times, Christian Yelich, on deck.
Got 2 gloves, cotton candy. You got to protect the cotton candy. That's a tough play with your arms full, right?
Yeah, caught him on the chin. Wear David Wright jersey, he's got to make a better play than that.
That's just a good point. David Wright's going to come get it back.
Yeah.
Ichiro bounces out to Kelly Johnson. Must-see TV when Bartolo Colon hits, or at least tries to. He's actually had a pretty good year at the plate. And you never know when that helmet's going to pop off. Here with the Mets in control, 7-0. Geico presents a Marlins moment. 144 home runs on this date. Dan Uggla passed Mike Lowell to become the Marlins all-time leader. Of course, he would be passed by Giancarlo Stanton. Uggla would end up at 154. Stanton sitting at 181, and the Marlins are hopeful that he's back as soon as possible.
Another reason you want to see Big G back, he's still just 2 off the pace in the home run race. Bryce Harper with 29, and Giancarlo and Todd Frazier tied with 27.
Michael Conforto, the biggest swing of the night for the Mets. Scoreless game in the second. 3-run homer to right, and he walks to open up the 6th against Andre Rienzo. Wednesday, Marlins Mets, crazy 8s in play. Show up with a receipt from 8 gallons of gas or more to the Marlins Park ticket office from your local Chevron. Get your choice of an $18 Lexus Legend level ticket, $28 home plate box ticket. And possibly you can have this hot dog and this pile of nachos. Where did the beer go? I go away for...
The beer disappeared in a hurry. You know, possibly someone on the crack staff.
Colon trying to bunt. An American leaguer virtually his entire career, hitting very foreign to Bartolo Colon. He's gotten better at it this year. Actually has 5 hits. Last year he was 2 for 62. This year 5 for 38. This is his 3rd at bat. You know things are going well when you're up there. Your 3rd at bat. Popped up. Real Muto can't quite get there. Someone just asked if I needed a beer. I think I need about 20 of them.
Colon not too upset at that strikeout attempting to bunt.
They still appreciate the effort, though. Here's Granderson. He takes a strike. Tom Kohler 4 1/3, 7 hits, 7 runs, 6 earned, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. Colon has gone 5 shutout innings, and he has struck out 4. Granderson takes in 1 for 3. Is the Mets right fielder, 34-year-old out of Blue Island, Illinois. Liner, foul. Nice play. Handled flawlessly. When you stay on the stool like that, your range factor doesn't go up.
See, that's where being positioned properly hurts the range factor.
With the new metrics. Granderson dumps it into left field. Major League Baseball on Fox Sports 1 this Saturday. Dodgers and Pirates. That opens things at 3:30. Lots of beer will be flowing whenever the Cardinals and the Brewers play. It's Budweiser against Miller. That's at 7 on Fox Sports 1. It streams live on Fox Sports Go. Murphy tries to check, goes around.
Saw the Dodger matchup there. Matt Latos fared well in his debut with the Dodgers, and no decision. Dodgers beat the Angels in 10 innings. But Latos won 6 innings, gave up 4 hits, a run. Andre Ethier homed a couple of times in that game.
See, we've seen the fit cart and the dessert cart on the same telecast. Somehow that doesn't make a lot of sense.
It's all about choices. The other thing, the acquisition of Yoenis Cespedes does, it gives the Mets some really good balance, lefty and righty.
But they'll have a little more depth when Michael Kadire gets off the disabled list. I don't know. That's a foul ball. I don't know that the Mets are really counting on David Wright. As odd as that sounds, if he's back, he's back. If he's not, I think the Mets feel they've got enough.
Well, with the acquisition of Uribe, Juan Uribe can play over there at third base. Tonight, Murphy's playing there. They have options.
Three-two. Murphy lifts it in the air, shallow right. Ichiro on.
And a guy like Uribe, we talked about him earlier. He was on that 05 White Sox World Championship team. He was on a Giant World Series Championship team. So it's amazing. Juan Uribe, you forget, is closing in on 200 home runs also in his career. So he gives you a lot.
Cespedes with a pair of doubles tonight. The second of which tattooed the top of the wall, 405 feet out in right center field. That was in the 5th.
Well, with 2 extra base hits tonight, Cespedes with 2 doubles. He has 50 extra base hits on the season.
Cespedes, left center. That's deep. Yelich after it. Won't get it. That one bangs into the wall. And that will score 1 and 2. Granderson's across. I think the Mets will be much happier with Yoenis Cespedes than Carlos Gomez. That's no slight to Gomez. Cespedes, his reputation in Oakland, the bigger the stakes, the better the game.
Hanging breaking ball, 31st double of the season for Cespedes. And a season high 6 doubles for the Mets tonight.
Watch this. Who's the guy that has the nickname Bringer of Rain? Because Cespedes just banged that right off the cloud that was hanging over that score. 3 doubles, 4 RBIs, And the last 2 doubles were absolute bolts. It is 9-0.
There comes a time, Rich, when you're buried in the standings the way the Marlins are. Not played well. There comes a time where you don't want to be embarrassed. And an opportunity, playing the Mets, a lot of games left with the Nationals, we talked about that. You don't want to go out there and get embarrassed. And tonight, not a good night.
That one scoots away from Real Muto. Cespedes holds third. Josh Donaldson is the bringer of rain, and he's been hot lately as well. Jerry Seinfeld's tweet: is it true that there is now a Cespedes for the rest of us?
Do you follow? Do you follow Jerry?
I do not, but I get the Festivus connection to that. The count is 1-2.
I actually follow George.
That's no swing. I mean, your point's a good one. There's 2 months of baseball to be played, and it almost is, watching the Mets and what they've been able to accomplish, where they are right now, the way they're playing right now, is a bit of a salt in the wounds to Marlin fans, because the Marlins had the same expectations as the Mets when the season started. Rienzo, that one gets away. Cespedes hits Rienzo. Collision at the plate, run scores. Rienzo up carefully. And it's 10-0, and a messy night continues.
A messy night of embarrassment, and you're getting outplayed. Bottom line. Well, it's dangerous for Rienzo coming in as he did to try to pick the throw and tag.
You see Cespedes immediately making sure that he was all right. He was put in a vulnerable spot trying to catch the throw, and then he caught Cespedes right in the ribs.
He plays hard. He plays with some energy, and he's having a big night tonight. Well, it all goes back to, Rich, to that sweep at Citi Field back in mid-April when the Marlins lost 4 straight to the Mets.
Lucas Duda, and he walks, and he's aboard. Chris Reed, the lefty out of Stanford, made his major league debut a couple days ago. There's Wilmer Flores. And looking at this series, and coming off of your comments, this was a night where, if you're the Marlins, you look at the 3 games and you say Bartolo Colon is 0-6 in his last 7 starts with an ERA north of 6. This is a game that you got a shot. Certainly, you got Matt Harvey throwing, and again, oftentimes when you project pitching matchups and all of that, it doesn't work out. But Matt Harvey goes on Wednesday. Tomorrow, you're not sure who's starting. It sounds like Brad Hand, but as you pointed out, that would mean Brad Hand and the rest of the bullpen, because you wouldn't expect Hand to be able to go all that deep. Flores fouls it back. Kevin Long, the hitting coach, longtime Yankee hitting coach, guy that Robinson Cano credited for a lot of his success.
Yeah, the last time Brad Hand started a game was in early June, first week of June. So at most you're hoping to get 4 or 5 innings. So you know you're going to have to dip into that bullpen. Another reason it's important for Rienzo to try to go as far as he can.
Flores swings and misses. The Mets, for good measure, tack on 3 more. 10-0 New York. Miami. Hashtag your strongest fan photo, FL Data Strong Fan, for a chance to be featured in an upcoming telecast brought to you by T-Mobile. Thank you, Judy. Christian Yelich has had the best swings against Bartolo Colon tonight. Single and a double.
Over the years, we have talked often about players that we thought might hit for the cycle as a Marlin, since a Marlin has never hit for the cycle. Christian Yelich, one of those that could. He certainly has the power for a home run. We know he can hit triples, and he has a single and a double tonight.
Tommy, you're on Twitter, and so I assume that you look at Twitter for news around baseball as it breaks.
Yeah, I like to follow the different national writers.
One thing that is a bit annoying on Twitter is all these cycle alerts. Seems like every night there's 2 or 3. Hey, this guy is a double and a homer away from the cycle. This guy is a triple away from the cycle. Have to download a cycle filter.
So I will not tweet Yelich is a triple and home run shy of the cycle.
No, you'll get a nasty response from Book Shambi and me. 2-2. Colon got in on him, and Yelich bounces out. Derek Dietrich, Martin Prado will follow. On this night in baseball, where if you're a Mets fan, life is good. Not only are the Mets clobbering the Marlins here 10-0, but Arizona is shutting out Washington, and that game's now in the 8th inning. It's 5-0 Diamondbacks. A loss would drop the Nationals to 54-50 and elevate the Mets to 56-50. That would mean a 1-game lead on Tuesday, August 4th. Certainly it's been a while since the Mets have been in that position, and the Marlins had a ringside seat for both. In 2007 and 2008, the Mets, the postseason in the balance, played their last game of the regular season at Shea against the Marlins. Both times the Marlins beat them, knocked them out of postseason contention. The last postseason the Mets played in, their manager was Willie Randolph. It was 2006. They lost that dramatic 7-game National League Championship Series to the St. Louis Cardinals.
I would normally consider Bartolo Colon a fly ball pitcher, but tonight 10 ground ball outs. I actually think he's changed things up a little bit because of his inconsistencies lately. Talked about his last outing against San Diego, 2 1/3 innings, 10 hits, 6 runs, gave up home runs to Justin Upton and Yonder Alonso.
Stay on it!
Duda to the rail. That's a nice play. Lucas Duda and the Mets having quite a night here in Miami. 10-0. Start. You can win tickets to upcoming games, raffle prizes, and meet Billy and the Energy team. Enjoy Corona Light specials throughout the game. Go to Marlins.com for more information. It's a giant bottle of Corona in that shot. Chris Reed called up on Saturday from New Orleans, made his major league debut and looked really good. 2 scoreless innings, gave up just a hit against the Padres. Miguel Rojas is at third. Rojas will go in that 6th spot in the order that was Casey McGee before his double switch out. And the pitcher spot is in Prado's spot, which was the 5 spot. Reed, born in England. Billy Johnson takes outside. Johnson walks. Marlins bullpen taking a hit. Carter Capps going on the 15-day disabled list. There's your Mets box score. Don't often see that line next to a player. Cespedes, 3 doubles. There's not a lot of room to get creative on that little box score, is there? I mean, you have to be precise if you're going to abbreviate and get creative. So that's good work.
Good work by our graphics people. Is that Ken Lee putting that together?
Or maybe Bill Wadlick.
Maybe Bill Wadlick.
Or they may have both gone out.
Who can get very creative.
Travis d'Arnaud has doubled twice. The Mets have a slew of hits. 9 of them. They've got 10 runs. Six doubles, a homer, and a couple singles.
Need that tranquil sight of the fish behind home plate.
They are looking for the dessert cart as well. They just swam right by Michael Conforto.
I'm just looking for a little peace and tranquility so I don't go off here.
You've erupted once. But I think everybody who's a Marlin fan listening feels the same frustration. Cologne is all ready for an at-bat. Ichiro there. Makes the catch. Chris Reed has a couple outs here. Warren Henry driving the game. Scoreless game became 3-0 when rookie Michael Conforto with his first major league homer to right a rocket off of Tom Kohler. Oh, 1 pitch. There's a strike to Conforto. There's 1 out. Counts 0-2. Sun Sentinel online. There's a nice article on Chris Reed and his climb to the big leagues. Craig Davis wrote it. Documents a climb through the Dodgers organization in which the Stanford pitcher had high expectations but didn't have a great minor league career, at least start. Raised in Southern California after being born in England. Conforto has another hit. Ichiro collects it. Toyota trend, the Mets since the 25th of July. 6-2, and I think the important number there, Tommy, is they're actually starting to score runs. You know they're going to pitch. You know their ERA is going to be low, but they're scoring runs. They're playing defense behind that great pitching staff.
They continue at the pace that they're on, and they'll cool off, obviously. But you got to like their battle with Washington.
Bartolo Colon into center field, and that just adds to the sting. Colon is getting the hang of this hitting thing. He is 6 for 40 now.
I mean, Yeah, he's 42. He's not going to want to retire. And if he signs with somebody else, if the Mets don't bring him back, he may want to stay in the National League because he's getting the feel.
He's listed at 5'11", 283, which I think is a little bit shy of where it should be.
I'm looking quickly at the Mets schedule, and it appears they have 6 games remaining with the Nationals, all in September. The final 3 games of the season against the Nationals.
Counts 0-2. Granderson, couple hits, bags are loaded, 1 out. And that one's going to go down the left field line. It'll score at least a couple. Johnson across. Conforto scores. Colon drops anchor at second. Curtis Granderson, a 3-hit night. And the Mets have a dozen.
Boy, Granderson has 2 of his 3 hits into this area, and you can see how he's locked in with that approach. It's almost like he picked that ball out of JT Realmuto's mitt he waited so long for.
Now Murphy. Oh for 3 is Murphy. Two and 1. Cespedes, who has 3 doubles, 4 RBIs, 2 runs, is on deck. That one kicks off of Gordon into right field. Malone had the emergency brake on anyways, and so he stops at third.
I would imagine a base hit. That ball was stung. Took a bad hop. And it is a base hit. The most runs the Marlins have allowed this year in any single game is 12. That was the 2nd game of the season. A 12-2 drubbing from the Braves. Well, 12 so far tonight. Cespedes hasn't been a Met very long, but he's already tied the club record with 3 doubles tonight.
It's amazing. All right, now we have to dig back into Met history and find out who he's tied with, right?
I would imagine many.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine many.
Like a Swoboda? There's 27 Mets. 27 others that he's tied with. So he's the 28th guy to do it. You got to think David Wright's done it.
I'm going to go with Keith Hernandez. He probably did it.
I think John Olerud. John Olerud. I put my money in there.
David Wright's got to be in there.
I already got him. Who's the most obscure Met who's done it?
Buddy Harrelson.
How about Shinjo?
Cleon Jones.
Where's Craig when we need him?
Yeah, we're
for
going back
sake.
early, Mets.
It's 12-0. Mets on top.
Marv Throneberry.
We're trying to find the most obscure Met to double 3 times in a game.
Ed Kranepool, I know, is on that list.
Don Clendenin has to be on that list. How about Bruce Beauclair? Maybe he stuck 3 doubles one day.
Cespedes, a broken bat. Gordon picks it up. There's an out. Echeverria's turn in time. And the Marlins get out. The Mets keep pouring it on. It's 12-0. Chevron delivers tomorrow night starters in a little blue car. Jonathan Neese, Brad Hand. Neese, an ERA in the mid-3s. And Hand gets a start. He's been in the bullpen a while. You wouldn't expect him to get all that deep into the ball game, which means a night like tonight is a really bad timing. With the Marlins having to go into their bullpen and the Mets scoring 12 runs. Juan Lagares is out in center field. A guy that has lost a little bit of luster from last year.
You know, Lagares can still chase him down, but he's had some really bad elbow problems. He just doesn't throw the ball.
He brought rations out.
But he's loading up on seeds right now.
There's Rojas, his first at bat. Real Muto and Echeverria will follow. Bartolo Colon just keeps on throwing strikes on a night where the Mets have scored a dozen runs, and that's really foreign to Colon lately. We talked about his bad stretch. 7 starts, 0-6, team 0-7. Mets scored just 7 runs of support in those games for him.
I thought one of the interesting numbers I saw, not only on Colon but on the Mets, they have coming into tonight, they're 55 wins, 55 and 50. They're 20 games over at home. They're 38 and 18 at Citi Field, yet just 17 and 32 on the road. That's an area they're going to have to pick things up a little bit if they want to continue to challenge. I say challenge, they're going to be in first place after tonight, the Nationals.
We're still waiting for our comprehensive list of Mets who have 3 doubles in a game. And here they are. Our baseball historian, John Chimchuk,
actually has them committed to memory.
How could we not get Bernard Gilkey?
Bernard Gilkey.
How about Doug Flynn? Did you guys say him?
Not on the list.
Oh, here's a good one.
John Milner.
Hubie Brooks.
Richie Hebner.
John Milner has to be on that list.
Lucas Duda's on that list.
Dave Magadan.
How about this? Now, I don't know this name. You might, Hut, but I know Craig knows. Kevin Collins.
Wow.
Remember him from '68?
No.
That's. Here's the 1-2. And it's fouled off. Edgardo Alfonso, Wally Bachman.
Yeah.
Bobby Bonilla, Carlos Beltran. Or Beltran. Ken Boyer. Nick Evans has done it.
Jerry Grody. There's one of your favorites, Craig.
Yeah, number 15.
Hard-nosed catcher.
Yes, he was.
Ron Hunt, when he wasn't getting hit by pitches, tripled or doubled 3 times in '65.
Let me just say, don't ever try to score a run. You would not see a current player try to head first slide into home if Jerry Grody was blocking the plate.
Elliot Maddox in '79. Dave Magadan. Dave Marshall. Tom O'Malley. I remember him as a Giant.
Yeah, left-handed hitter.
Rojas fouls it off. These are Mets who have doubled 3 times in a game. Cespedes has done it, and he's tied the Met team record. I was waiting for this name. John Olerud did do it in '99. Jose Reyes. Dick Smith in '64. How do you pronounce that name, Hut?
Darryl Strawberry.
No, the other one.
I'm going to guess Roy Stager, but I'm not familiar with that name.
That's easier than Despagne, probably. Stager, Roy Stager. So there you go. There's a little bit of Mets trivia. Our thanks to the kids for playing along, and John Chimchuk, our resident baseball historian.
Speaking of Despagne, you always kind of look at the teams you just played. Right now, San Diego with a 6-2 lead in Milwaukee, and the Marlins got Alexi Amarista hot. He's 2 for 3 with a couple of RBIs. Solarte has homered in that game. And just so we could say it one more time, Yangervis Solarte has homered in that game.
We had a lot of angry Scrabble fans the other day. Again, reiterating, there's only one Z in Scrabble. We knew that. We did drop it if there were 2 available. 0-2. Granderson is there. Here's the scary thing. If Colon snaps back to form, whatever form he might be, and pitches well, he will join this group. Matt Harvey, Jacob deGrom, Noah Syndergaard. Nice's ERA is manageable, 3.5.
One of the things the Mets are, I don't want to say they're worried about it. They're certainly thinking about it. If you look ahead to postseason, you have guys like deGrom and Harvey, Syndergaard, who you want to be careful in their innings. And that's one thing they're really trying to plan on. They're looking at a series where maybe they would skip someone.
Today, Terry Collins, just before the ball game, addressed that to right. Back goes Granderson at the track, reaches and makes the catch. Echeverria robbed at the fence, slams his helmet down. It's been that kind of night for the Marlins. The Mets up big. Granderson, a nice play. It's 12-0. out with just 5 hits right now, and the Mets can smell sole possession of first place. The Nationals are down 6-1 in the bottom of the 9th at home against Arizona. Of course, the Mets a commanding lead here, so it looks like the Mets a 1-game lead going into tomorrow's play. Tomas Telis is behind the plate, and Telis will be catching Chris Reed, who's into his 2nd inning of relief. Lucas Duda is up. Before Granderson made that catch, we were talking about the Mets' young arms and how they'd like to protect them in terms of a innings limit this year. Terry Collins, talking about that, said that he would not shut anyone down, but they will try to space out some of the starts with a 6-man rotation, aware that he's got a great pitching staff with young arms who haven't been up in that 200 pitch or 200 inning workload before. It's a nice problem to have if you're Terry Collins.
I think a lot of people learned from a couple of years ago, the Steven Strasburg situation.
You think the Nationals learned? Because they were pretty adamant that they were right.
You know what? Publicly, they may still stick by what they did, but I think behind closed doors, they'd tell you they learned a little. We'll have to get Mike Rizzo behind closed doors when we're in Washington and
Good
see.
luck.
And see.
Braves have come back to make it a tight one against the Giants at 6-5 San Francisco in Atlanta. Duda, big swing. Reed gets a strikeout. And Wilmer Flores is coming up.
That's amazing. The hottest hitter on the planet, Lucas Duda, is 0 for 3 tonight with 3 strikeouts. Yet others have done tons of damage in that Met lineup. And I think there was a time, and it was probably one of the reasons Duda was struggling so much, there was a time that he was putting all of that on himself without a David Wright, with others struggling. Early in the year, Granderson, Murphy struggling. And remember, Duda got off to a pretty good start. He had a good April. But now guys in that dugout can just say, hey, we got your back.
Wilmer Flores gets into that one. Yelich is there, and he makes the catch. You really get, I think, a better appreciation of Yelich's first step, his angle, and his closing speed when you watch him in center, especially in this ballpark. Not that that doesn't show up in left, but to me, it's a little more evident in center field.
Well, because, first of all, there's more room. Secondly, we have a real good angle as to the gaps into left center, into right center.
Kelly Johnson into right field. His first hit of the ball game. Here comes Travis d'Arnaud.
So everybody in the lineup, with the exception of Lucas Duda, at least 1 base hit, including Bartolo Colon. Duda has walked a couple of times. He's been on base.
Counts 0-1. You know, when d'Arnaud's been healthy and playing, he's been a nice little player. I guess I shouldn't say little. He's a catcher. He's not a big catcher. He's doubled twice here tonight. This is only his 22nd game.
It's a small sample size, and it's a little thing, but I think a couple of innings to watch Talise behind the plate gives the Marlins an opportunity to see defensively how he handles himself back there.
High drive left field. Dietrich looking up. Is under it, and he makes the catch. And the inning ends. Nice inning by Chris Reed. 12-0 Mets.
Michael Conforto hit his home run earlier. Right to my right, this gentleman is left, but he did leave with some going away prizes. The Marlins are going to, or actually the Mets are going to send him an autographed bat and ball from Conforto. They did get the baseball back with his first major league home run, and they're going to actually ship it to him, so he won't get to meet him after the game. But these guys over here, because this is their first major league game ever, is that right?
That's correct.
Did not know whether to catch the ball or not, but they're from Germany.
That's also correct.
Why'd you come to the baseball game? That's awesome to have you out here.
Yeah, we wanted to look some U.S. sport, and we thought, yeah, why not baseball when we are here in Miami?
Absolutely. You see that fly ball to left field. Are you? What are your names?
My name is Sven.
And mine's Daniel.
Sven and Daniel. Are you familiar with the rules?
To be honest, not really. But we learn here now.
Like, do you know how many innings there are in the game?
9.
9 innings. Yeah, not bad. All right. And 3 outs. And you're gonna go. What about your trip? What's coming up next?
The next stop is San Francisco in 3 days, and yeah, then LA and Vegas at the end.
And then Vegas to finish off. All right. Well, good to see you guys out. You enjoying the game? It's different.
Yeah, we're enjoying the game. The score isn't so good, but we're just enjoying. We have all you can eat. I ate 8 hot dogs, and I'm a little bit tired, but yeah, just enjoying the game.
Sure, you had the sauerkraut too, right?
Not here's no sauerkraut.
All right. Well, good to see you guys.
Thank you.
And that was great. They're enjoying the ball game. And you know what I like? They said the score isn't so great. That means they're Marlins fans. So that's good. Good to hear. Back to you guys.
I like their itinerary.
Yeah, it's culminating in Las Vegas after San Francisco and LA. It's some good towns. Miami.
That's a little Vegas flavor. Meanwhile, Bartolo Colon is cruising. 94th pitch. Ichiro strokes it into left field. A base hit for Ichiro. A 1-for-4 night. We've been watching that Nationals game with the Diamondbacks playing quite well tonight. And the Diamondbacks hold on 6-4. They beat the Nationals. So the Mets are going to have a 1-game lead. Right now, a half-game lead. Mets need just 4 outs. They're up 12-0. Yelich is up. He takes outside. Single, double for Yelich. Ball and a strike. Alexei Amarista is still hitting. In Milwaukee, he's got a couple of hits, a double and a triple. Wow. Tommy, Alexei Amarista is a single and a homer away from the cycle.
Don't tweet that out.
Camera 12. Where have you been all night?
By the way, the base hit by Ichiro, 2,903.
No running on the pool deck. Yelich bangs one center field deep, and it's going off the base of the wall. Ichiro's not stopping. He's going to score, and Christian Yelich has a nice night. Couple doubles and 3 hits. Bartolo Colon loses a shutout.
Well, it's been a nice night for Christian Yelich. He has had good at-bats. It's an easy time to give away at-bats in games like this late. And he stayed with it, drove that ball hard. If not for the ball coming back to Lagares really quickly the way it did, Yelich would have been a home run away from the cycle. But because he came back to him so fast, he pulled up at second base.
Dietrich takes away. Those Padres have a 7-2 lead over Milwaukee in Milwaukee. Not a full schedule for either league tonight. Blue Jays earlier today, 5-1 win over Minnesota. David Price was dominant. Blue Jays now 3 over, 55 and 52. Duda flips. Colon gets to first. Miami has a run, but they're still a long way back. 12-1 New York. for Brian Ellington, who turns 25 tomorrow. Born and raised in Gainesville. Went to school at West Florida up in Pensacola. 16th round pick in 2012, and here he is making his major league debut.
You know, sometimes you think about it, you dream about it, you might put yourself in a different type game, but the bottom line is that you have climbed that ladder and you've made it to this level. Cole Gillespie comes in a double switch. And we saw Chris Reed make his major league debut a couple of nights ago.
Michael Conforto is the hitter. It's not been an easy trail to get to the big leagues. His senior year at Oak Hall School in Gainesville, he already had a scholarship to Florida State, and then an elbow injury and Tommy John surgery just his senior season. A couple of junior colleges before ultimately landing at West Florida, Division II West Florida. They did win the national championship in 2011. Fastball, curveball, changeup. Spent a lot of time with Joe Coleman, 2014, as pitching coach in the minor leagues.
Nicely done there. Good fastball. Got a little bit out of his delivery on the pitch before. Got right back into it there. I always love it when you have a guy such as Joe Coleman, who pitched a long time in the big leagues, working with the young pitchers, because so much of it is, yes, you're going to talk a little bit about mechanics and pitches and all that, but so much of it is between your ears and handling situations at the major league level.
Sean Gilmartin in the Mets bullpen.
And that's why I think, and this is just going off in a whole nother direction, the whole pitch count thing has in some ways hindered the progress of a lot of young pitchers, because you'll have a young starter in the minor leagues and he gets in the 6th inning and he gets a couple of men on base, but all of a sudden the pitch count, there's a first strikeout in the big leagues, so congratulations. And all of a sudden his pitch count is there and he has to come out of the game. He doesn't learn how to get out of that situation.
First hitter faced. He strikes him out. Ruben Tejada. And he hit him. Tejada gets hit on the shoulder. And here comes Curtis Granderson. You can follow the Marlins or your favorite team all season long. MLB.com @BAT, #1 app for live baseball. Up to the moment, any moment. In-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcast, StatCast, pitch tracking widget. MLB.com @BAT. Smartphone, tablet, watch, whatever it takes. Brian Ellington making his major league debut.
You can see he has a live fastball 95, 97.
I guess the question tomorrow is how many innings can you get out of Brad Hand? You would expect one guy that would back him up would be Adam Conley, who has been starting in New Orleans. And so,
which brings up a question. If Conley's been starting and we don't know that he's going to back up Brad Hand, it would seem logical to have Conley go out there and start, even though Conley did throw a couple of innings the other night against San Diego on Saturday.
Pitch misses away. At least you have Conley for, you would hope, 3, 4, 5 innings if Hand goes short tomorrow night. Granderson walks.
And Rich, you just never want to become short-handed.
I know it's 12-1, so
hey, give us a break. Jimmy Fallon doesn't hit him on the head every time either.
No, but on one like that, he can turn around and fire the writer that wrote the joke. Campbell, who made that nice leaping catch, robbing D. Gordon of a hit, is up. And Ellington misses away. Ball and a strike.
You imagine the emotions, the feelings. You want to say, slow it down, slow it down. Not easy to do.
Well, the Atlanta Braves have come back and tied that game against San Francisco. Campbell to left center. Gillespie under it, and he makes the catch. We will turn it over to Craig and Jeff. Checkers presents Marlins Live. Good luck. Niners still in the suite. The dessert cart still parked outside the Fox Sports Florida suite.
Tell you a guy, Rich, for the Braves, who hit a home run, had a nice night last night, had a 3-hit game last night. Jace Peterson. He's got 3 hits and a home run tonight for Atlanta. We'll see him this weekend.
Jace Peterson coming from the Padres. Another guy over from the Padres who's having a really nice year is Cameron Maybin, who has a couple of hits in that ball game. It's 12-1 Mets. Brian Ellington pitching to Tomas Telis. Telis behind the plate for Miami. His first action as a Marlin. Ellington's major league debut to right. Ichiro on a hop. Runner holds at third. The bags are loaded for Lucas Duda, the co-player of the week in the National League. After hitting 7 homers. And the only way you're not going to win sole possession of that award is if your teammate makes 2 starts, goes 8 innings in each start, and gives up just 2 earned runs with 18 punch-outs, and that's what Noah Syndergaard did. So Syndergaard and Duda are your co-players of the week in the National League. Braves and Giants now top 10, 7-7. Four games in Atlanta starting on Thursday night. Sunday is actually a 5 o'clock start.
So what did we kind of figure it out unofficially that we'll see Jose Fernandez on Friday against the Braves?
Duda's taking some healthy cuts up there. 98 miles an hour on that Ellington fastball.
Yes, some healthy cuts at some live fastballs.
Ellington has hit a batter, walked a batter. Giving up a base hit. Now the 3-2. He's throwing it as hard as he can, and Duda is swinging as hard as he can.
Well, Duda knows he's going to get that hard fastball. There's a range of the velocity.
And he got him.
Last thing Duda was thinking about.
That's a memorable first inning in the big leagues for Gainesville's Brian Ellington. Sharp curveball for strike 3. Kubota. For more information or to find a participating dealer, go to FloridaKubotaDealers.com. In Miami tonight, the Mets Express is in town, and they are rolling. 12 runs, 15 hits for the Mets. Marlins have a run. Brian Ellington out of Gainesville. His major league debut. Worked himself into a bases-loaded spot, but got out of it with a gorgeous curveball to strike out Lucas Duda.
Yeah, you just didn't think he was going to throw that pitch in that situation. Neither did Lucas Duda, and it was a beauty. Sean Gilmartin comes in to finish things off here for the Mets in the 9th inning.
Cole Gillespie is up. I like the look from Gilmartin with the sleeves and the high pants, low socks. Sort of the John Matlack look. Is fouled back. Tomorrow night, Jonathan Neese, Brad Hand for the Fish. Homer Flores now at second. Ruben Tejada at short. Cole Gillespie to right center. Juan Lagares takes care of that. Here is Miguel Rojas. Rojas tonight came in a double switch in the 7th. Michael Conforto with his first major league homer in the 2nd. It was a 3-run homer to right off of Tom Kohler. And the Mets never looked back. They added 4 in the 5th, 3 more in the 6th, 2 more in the 7th. And it's 12-1. Sean Gilmartin pitched at Florida State. A liner that is knocked down. Flores couldn't handle it. Rojas has swung the bat well over the last, well, for him, 9 games. Over a span of about 3 weeks almost.
Yeah, a lot of those pinch hit appearances, a lot of those appearances where he just comes in and gets one at bat. His hitting streak, he had a 6-game streak. That's going to stop, but boy, he stung that ball. Thought it was caught on the line by Flores, and then he dropped it. And there's our first look at Tomas Telis, 24-year-old out of Venezuela. And you talked about he had some games, 6 games with Texas this year. He appeared in 18 games with the Rangers last year.
Lost his bat, and it ends up in the first row of seats. Looks like it hits a gentleman in that first row, and let's hope he's okay. The bat was not broken, but still it landed on the top of the dugout, and a fan in that first row was struck by that bat.
there's just no way to get out of the way of that either, to react to that.
It's certainly unnerving for everybody on the field. That if you ask any player in Major League Baseball if they would like the nets to extend down the baselines, you would get 100% would say absolutely. To protect from bats, to protect from balls.
And I think that's something that is going to be looked into.
Let's hope so. Talise in the air to center. Lagares is there, and he makes the catch. And a night of misery is over for the Marlins. The Mets Express showing no signs of slowing down tonight. All alone in first place. The Nationals go down 6-4 to the Diamondbacks, and the Mets blast the Marlins 12-1. The New York Mets are in first place, sole possession of first place in the East. For the 12-1 win over the Fish, Marlins Live is coming up.